Hey guys, Ron from Shearer Fabrications. We're here today to talk about our first turbocharger safety product, our universal CrossBolt kit. For those of you that don't know, these bolts and kit is intended to be installed after the turbine housing in your exhaust tubing to catch the turbine wheel in case of a catastrophic failure. All the fury of your engines breathing into the turbine housing, making the whole turbine shaft assembly spin at crazy RPMs, 100, 150,000, 200,000 RPMs. And when you're running good boost, it puts a lot of axial torque into the turbine shaft, not to mention all the heat from your engine. And, in the worst case, you have an engine failure, you might have an exhaust valve go through the turbine wheel, something along those lines. It can cause a fracture in the turbine shaft, cause it to break. The turbine wheel can just come apart, and then it can chew its way outside the exhaust housing and make its way into the exhaust tubing. The intent of these is to be mounted directly after the turbine housing to catch that turbine wheel in case it does manage to exit the turbine housing. It's a safety thing. As racers, I feel that we owe it to ourselves to protect our vehicles. We owe it to our crew who are there with us to protect them as they're standing around the car when we're racing or testing a two-step in the pits. And we also owe it most to the fans who are paying good money to come and watch us at the racetrack. Typically, when these things exit the turbine housing, if they do make it into the exhaust tubing, you figure they're spinning at some good RPM. They're glowing red hot, spinning at 150,000 RPM. Once they get into the exhaust tubing, they can make it quite a ways, oftentimes into the stands or beyond. And the last thing we want to do is have a spectator or somebody else have a collision with these things. Also, our race cars too. I think, a lot of us have an unimaginable amount of time and money spent into our race cars. If these things do manage to escape, sometimes they don't go out all the way out the tubing. Sometimes they escape out the side of the tubing and they can make it into our engine bay. Everybody's got fuel cells, oil lines, coolant lines, etc. mounted in their engine bay. If a turbine wheel does come in contact with a fuel cell and causes a fuel leak or gets wedged in your tire, it's a bad scenario. Nobody wants to deal with a car fire or us kissing the wall. It's not a good thing. So for a minor investment, I feel like racers owe it to themselves to protect their vehicles as well. These CrossBolt kits are available in stainless steel and titanium, available in sizes from 3-inch to 5-inch and half-inch increments. Each kit includes 4 CrossBolt bungs, 4 weld bungs for your tubing, and 2 bolt assemblies, which includes 2 brass washers to seal the bolts from exhaust leaks and a nut to secure it to the tubing as well. These are made in-house from raw bar stock, machined in our CNC machines. Good quality, very strong. The larger perimeter of the CrossBolt bung provides a nice rigid area and offers lots of weld perimeter to ensure a secure connection to the tubing. We typically recommend that you use a minimum of 065 wall stainless steel tubing or 047/48 titanium tubing. Any thinner than that, we're just afraid that if there is an impact with a turbine wheel, it's going to peel the exhaust open like a pop can. And that's not good because it kind of defeats the whole purpose of these. We need a secure connection to retain that turbine wheel and kill its inertia as it's escaping the turbine housing. When installing these, you want to try and make sure that they're perpendicular to one another, and you want them installed, I would say, within 2 to 3 inches of the turbine outlet. You don't want to install them way downstream to the exhaust because if the turbine wheel does escape, it's going to give the turbine wheel an opportunity to escape through the side of the tubing before it ever contacts the CrossBolts. Keeping it close is a key feature. Also, when installing these, you want to make sure that they are close to each other in the axial length of the tube, because turbine wheel does contact, it's going to hit the first bolt, probably bend it. You want the second bolt right behind that first bolt to back it up and give it some additional strength. The other great benefit to these CrossBolts is that you can install them in straight tubing or in a bend. Installing them in a bend does take a little bit more fabrication, a little bit more planning, but a lot of cars, we've got compact engine bays, we have a 90-degree bend right off our turbine housing. They can be integrated into those bends as well. These are particularly important for class racers, any turbocharged car, but particularly those class racers who are spinning the crap out of the turbos, going well beyond their recommended shaft speeds. Failures are definitely more prone in those applications. Or for those cheap guys using the Chinese Wuhan whistlers, definitely critical. any particular set of circumstances can cause these failures, from, overspinning, racing, or just bad oiling. All of our cars that are accelerating hard, we all have seen dips in oil pressures on our data logs. Not good for the turbo, not good for, endurance and keeping that shaft, the turbine shaft, intact. I think that pretty much covers all the inherent details with them. You can find these at our website at shearerfabrications.com. And if you guys have any questions about how to install these or any particular questions, always feel free to give us a call. Thanks for watching and have a great day.